This is kind of a follow up to last week's episode, so go watch it. If you haven't, then come back. Hey y'all, happy Friday. Welcome back to Fearless Fridays. Today is Friday, July 15th. This is episode 126 of Fearless Fridays. As always, I welcome you to the show, whether you're a first time watcher or a return watcher. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Do me a favor before we even get into one single thing. I want you to go ahead and click like, click subscribe, leave me a comment. Well, watch first and then leave me a comment and share with a friend. All of those things help me. And I always appreciate when people leave comments and like and share and subscribe and all of those things. So do those things, one or two or all of those things. And then we will get into today's chat. So, like I said, this is a bit of a follow-up to last week's episode. And if you remember last week's episode, I talked about that's not my experience. How sometimes people will take their experience and assume that everyone who's like them or just everyone in general is having the same experience. And sometimes we got to say, yeah, that's not my experience, especially when the person is sharing a negative experience and trying to kind of put it on you as if their negative experience is also going to be your experience. So this is a bit of a follow-up. And what the follow-up is this. The experience that you are having is largely, very largely connected to what you believe and what you speak about yourself, about your life, about your experiences. What you believe and what you speak. This is not new. This is something that I've said before. Our words create our lives. It is true. We live according to what we say. Our words are like prophecies. If we say, "Oh, this thing always happens to me," or "This thing is gonna happen to me," it's highly likely that that thing will happen because you are creating an atmosphere. You are creating a space where that reality can live, can exist. You are speaking it into existence. You are prophesying over yourself. And our words come from our thoughts and our beliefs about ourselves. And so if we believe a certain thing and we think a certain thing, we begin to say that thing and speak that thing into existence. And that is what becomes our life. That's how our lives come into being. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, which basically means that whatever is in your heart, that's what's coming out of your mouth. So if all of your negative experiences or your negative beliefs or your negative thoughts or your tragic beliefs or your catastrophic beliefs or your fearful beliefs, if that's what's ruminating and germinating inside of your heart, your mouth is going to speak that into existence. Whatever comes out of your mouth is coming from your heart, is coming out of whatever you believe, whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever you know to be true, whether it's true or not. So it's really, really important that we recognize that our lives are a direct reflection of what we speak and of what we believe and think about ourselves, about others, about the world. So if that is the truth, then that means we have the ability, we have the power to change our lives. We have the power to change our life experience. If we are having a life experience that we are not enjoying, that is negative, that is full of strife and frustration and drama and trauma, we have the ability to shift that by what we speak, by what we think, by what we believe, by what we choose to believe, because what you believe is a choice. You have the choice of what you're going to believe, of what you're going to hold on to, of what you're going to marinate on, of what you're going to let grow inside of you, of what you're going to feed with what you listen to, who you talk to, what all kinds of things. We have the ability to change our life experience by what we speak And we can change what we speak by shifting what we believe. And we can shift what we believe by shifting what we allow in our space, in our ears, in our eyes, in our minds. We have the power to do that. I know there are a lot of people who just think, well, these are the cards that I was dealt, and I'm just going to, deal with life and deal with these cards that I've been dealt. And while, I don't want to equate life to a card game, but while we all operate under a certain set of circumstances, and to an extent, we cannot control the circumstances into which we're born. We cannot control the place we're born, the family we're born into, the socioeconomic class we're born into, the atmosphere that we are born into. We can't control those things. We cannot control those things. We cannot. But what we can control, and what is so important to know, is that even though we can't control those things, we can control the thoughts that we think. We can control the steps that we take. And part of controlling those things is recognizing that, hey, I was born into this situation, or there was a circumstance that put me in this situation, and I don't like it. And I want to make a shift. And that can be a difficult thing when you are surrounded by a certain thing and you know that you don't want this thing to be the reality in your life. It can be hard to make a shift, but just because it's hard doesn't mean it's impossible. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's impossible. It is possible to shift who you're around. It's possible to shift who you allow to speak into your life. It's possible to shift what you watch, what you listen to, what you allow to ruminate and marinate and dwell in your brain, and therefore make a shift in what you believe, and therefore make a shift in what you speak, and therefore make a shift in how you live and in the life experience that you're having. So if there's a specific life experience that you're having and you're just like, this ain't it, this cannot be it, look at what you're saying. Look at what you're believing, reevaluate it, and decide or learn or figure out, what shifts do I need to make in order to change my thoughts and my mindset, and therefore change my words, and therefore change what I'm speaking into existence, and therefore change how I'm living, or the life experience that I'm having. We have the power. Our lives are largely decided by what we speak, and what we speak is largely decided by what we believe, what we know, what we feel, what we understand. And that's largely decided by the atmospheres that we allow to be around us. So if you don't like your atmosphere, change it. Change your atmosphere. Change what's coming in. Change what you're seeing, what you're thinking, what you're hearing. Change that. Therefore, you can change what you're believing and marinating on and meditating on. And therefore, you can change your mindset, and then you can change your words, and then you can change your life. Also, show yourself a little grace. Recognize that if you've been in certain negative environments or negative atmospheres or just unfavorable atmospheres for a long time, or if you have held on to negative beliefs or negative thoughts, or even negative words for a long time, if you have not learned how to pay attention to what you're thinking about and what you're saying and your atmospheres, give yourself some grace and recognize that it might take some time for you to learn how to really tune into those things and remove yourself from atmospheres you don't want to be in, or shift the words that you're saying, or shift the thoughts that you're thinking. A lot of times we don't think about what we're thinking about. We don't think about what we're saying. We just let thoughts fly through our heads. We let words fly out of our mouths without really paying attention to what we're saying. So learn how to pay attention to your thoughts. Learn how to pay attention to your words. And if your thoughts are unfavorable and negative, or if your words are unfavorable and negative, you got to learn how to pay attention to those things and shift them so that you can then shift your life. So pay attention to your environment, pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your words, and recognize the power that you have to shift those things so that you can shift your life into the life that you want, as opposed to just continuing to think and believe and speak more of the life that you don't want. So that's what I want to share with y'all this week. Your life is largely determined by what you say, what you think, what you believe, and the atmospheres that you allow yourself to be in. And you have the power to change all of those things. Every single one of those things you have the power to change. You can't necessarily change what you're born into or the circumstances you're dealt or the cards you're dealt, as people say, but you can shift what you do with those things. You can shift what you believe about yourself. You can shift the words that you say. You can shift your life. You can shift your life. You have the power. So that's what I want to share with y'all this week. As always, the euphoria of fearlessness trumps the comfort of staying safe. There's something else I want to say going forward. Live bolder. Live bolder. I might share more about that phrase. But for now, I'll leave it there. Have a happy Friday. I will see y'all next week.